It was supposed to be Meghan Markle's night, another flawless performance in her ongoing campaign to reclaim the spotlight she once ruled. The venue shimmered with candlelight. Photographers lingered at the edges of velvet ropes, and the air buzzed with the scent of expensive perfume and quiet ambition. Every detail had been curated: the guest list, the lighting, the placement of her seat, so that when she spoke, all eyes would be drawn to her. For a while it worked, until Emma Grede walked in. Now, Emma Grede isn't the kind of woman who needs an introduction. She doesn't arrive to make noise. She arrives and the noise rearranges itself around her. Billion-dollar entrepreneur, co-founder of Skims, the engine behind Good American, the quiet strategist behind the Kardashian business empire. And perhaps most dangerously for Meghan Markle, a woman who embodies the very thing Meghan only sells: effortless authenticity. As the dinner began, Meghan Markle eased into her favorite rhythm: polished smiles, practiced gratitude, and that poised voice that seemed designed for camera lenses. She spoke about empowerment, about purpose, about women owning their narratives. Every phrase floated like a pearl in candlelight. Then came the moment no one expected. Emma Grede interrupted, not loudly, not rudely, just firmly, one sentence mid-speech. A question delivered with calm confidence. The room shifted. Forks paused. Eyes flicked toward Emma Grede as if gravity had changed direction. Meghan blinked, that famous slow blink that says everything her smile won't. Her grin held, but her body stiffened. The micro-expression of a woman realizing control had slipped through her manicured fingers. It wasn't just an interruption, it was a dethroning. Because when Emma Grede speaks, people listen, not because of celebrity, but because of credibility. The guests leaned in, not out of politeness, but genuine curiosity. They laughed softly at her wit, nodded at her points, followed her energy without resistance. Meghan Markle, who had choreographed the room like a stage, suddenly became background scenery in her own performance. Every second that followed made the hierarchy clearer. One woman spoke from experience, the other from image. To understand why that single moment mattered, you have to understand who Emma Grede really is. She's not another influencer looking for relevance. She's the executive whose deals rewrite market trends. Her phone calls don't beg for opportunity. They create them. So when Emma Grede interrupted, it wasn't malice. It was dominance expressed through calm assurance. The kind of dominance that doesn't need applause to confirm its existence. The energy in the room shifted subtly but irreversibly. Guests turned toward Emma Grede, their posture mirroring respect. Meghan Markle tried to recover. She adjusted her shoulders, reached for her glass, smiled a little too long. But the power balance had changed. Cameras captured fragments, nothing explicit, just enough to suggest that something invisible had cracked. Behind that smile, Meghan Markle knew exactly what was happening. For years, she'd built a brand on being the misunderstood outsider, the woman who outshined royalty through charm and conviction. But now she sat across from someone who didn't need to prove worth, someone whose empire spoke louder than any speech could. It wasn't humiliation through insult. It was something far worse, irrelevance through comparison. Then fate decided to twist the knife. Only days before that dinner, Emma Grede had quietly been announced as an ambassador for King Charles's foundation. Yes, that King Charles, the very monarch Meghan Markle had spent years accusing of coldness and bias. The timing couldn't have been crueler. The woman Meghan considered an ally was now representing the institution she tried to dismantle. Sources close to Meghan Markle say she was blindsided. Canceling wasn't an option. She needed the exposure. So she arrived anyway, smiling through a storm no one else could see. Every compliment she gave sounded rehearsed, every toast forced through clenched teeth. And across the table sat Emma Grede, radiant, relaxed, and now officially tied to the crown. The irony was Shakespearean, because the same monarchy that Meghan Markle declared toxic had just embraced the woman who outshone her. It was as if the universe itself had whispered, "The seat you abandoned has already been filled." The dinner became more than an event. It was a quiet referendum on power. On one side, Meghan Markle, the rebel duchess who turned defiance into content. On the other, Emma Grede, the loyal innovator whose work spoke for itself. And somewhere in that contrast, the room decided which kind of power it respected more. By the end of the evening, the smiles had turned polite. Meghan Markle posed for photos, carefully angling her chin, ensuring no one could see the tightness around her eyes. But the pictures told another story. Emma Grede's posture open and grounded. Meghan slightly turned away, as though retreating behind invisible armor. The Duchess had lost control of the narrative, and for a woman built on narrative, that loss was everything. Back in Montecito, the fallout unfolded quietly. Insiders claim Prince Harry scrolled through clips of the event later that night, replaying the subtle humiliation frame by frame. And for the first time, he didn't jump to defend her. No rushed calls to PR advisors, no damage control emails, just silence. A long exhale. The look of a man realizing something he didn't want to admit, that the kingdom he built around his wife's confidence might not be real anymore. For Prince Harry, the dinner wasn't about jealousy. It was about recognition. Recognition that the power dynamic had shifted, not just in that room, but in their marriage. He had always stood beside Meghan Markle, repeating her truths, protecting her image, fighting her wars. But that night, watching her falter under Emma Grede's calm dominance, he saw what everyone else saw. A woman performing power rather than possessing it. That realization hurt. Not because it exposed weakness, but because it exposed reality. The crown they'd built in exile, made of interviews, deals, and brand slogans, wasn't gold. It was glass. And under the pressure of authenticity, it had finally cracked. The next morning, the tabloids called it nothing. A routine dinner, another celebrity evening. But people who were there still talk about the silence that followed Emma Grede's interruption. The kind of silence that shifts reputations forever. Meghan Markle had gone to the dinner to remind the world she still mattered. Instead, she was reminded that real power doesn't need reminding. It simply sits down, speaks once, and changes the room. Because when Emma Grede interrupted her, she didn't just speak over a duchess. She exposed a truth Meghan could no longer hide. Power rooted in perception fades. Power rooted in purpose endures. And that night, amid the glow of chandeliers and polite applause, the difference between the two became impossible to ignore. The next morning in Montecito, Meghan Markle stared at her reflection longer than usual. The mirror offered no applause, no validation, only silence. That dinner with Emma Grede had burned itself into her thoughts. She had arrived expecting admiration, but left realizing the room's energy had shifted forever. What she once commanded with charm had been quietly overpowered by presence. Emma Grede hadn't meant to humiliate her. She had simply been, and in being, she exposed a truth Meghan could no longer perform her way around. At breakfast, Prince Harry sat across from her, scrolling through clips of the dinner that now lived online in snippets and whispers. He saw the blink, the smile, the subtle shift when Emma Grede took the air from the room. But instead of outrage, a strange calm overtook him. For the first time, Prince Harry didn't feel the need to protect her. No crisis team, no public defense, no statement about misinterpretation, just silence. Because deep down, even he could see it. Meghan Markle's power wasn't slipping, it was gone. Those close to them say the weeks after the dinner felt different. The Montecito mansion, once alive with meetings, stylists, and planners, began to feel like a museum of what used to be. Meghan Markle threw herself into events, photo shoots, and causes, but the spark had dimmed. Each new appearance felt more like an audition than a victory. Every smile tighter. Every speech shorter. Hollywood had found someone new to adore, and her name was Emma Grede. Meanwhile, Prince Harry found himself drifting. He started spending longer hours at the gym, longer drives down the coast alone, longer silences between sentences. Friends said he was reflective. Insiders whispered defeated. For years, he had defended Meghan, stood by her through every controversy, every lawsuit, every accusation. But something about that dinner made him realize he couldn't fight perception forever. You can't demand authenticity. It either radiates or it doesn't. And if Emma Grede's effortless calm was light, Meghan Markle's curated control was shadow. Inside royal circles, news of the dinner traveled fast. King Charles reportedly chuckled when told how Emma Grede, now an ambassador for his foundation, had unintentionally upstaged the Duchess. Prince William, ever the strategist, saw an opportunity. He began discreet discussions about title reform, starting with Prince Andrew's disgraced title but leaving room for others. It was whispered that once Parliament touched the law, nothing stopped them from removing the Duke and Duchess of Sussex as well. The logic was simple. If one royal's disgrace warranted it, another's defiance could too. The timing couldn't have been worse for Meghan Markle. As the monarchy quietly regained its footing, her own brand was sinking. Public interest waned, Netflix deals lost traction, and invitations slowed. The Duchess, who once symbolized rebellion, had become the face of exhaustion. Even her mantra, authenticity, empowerment, truth, felt hollow next to Emma Grede, who embodied all three without saying a word. And then came the whispers about her private life. Insiders said Meghan Markle spoke endlessly about motherhood, but her reality told a different story. Archie and Lilibet were rarely seen, rarely mentioned. They existed in public memory more than public view. Paparazzi called them the invisible heirs of Montecito. It wasn't judgment, it was curiosity. How could a mother who built her brand on family seem so distant from her own? At galas and charity dinners, Meghan Markle radiated warmth for cameras but carried distance in real life. She'd laugh at the right moments, gesture gracefully, talk about balance and values, but behind that poise lived fatigue. Her empire of image was running on fumes. Every project, every post, every handshake felt like a grasp for validation that never lasted long enough. Meanwhile, Prince Harry was quietly unraveling. Friends said he missed simplicity. Those mornings in the army, the easy banter with his brother, before everything fractured. He wasn't homesick for the palace. He was homesick for peace. And every time he saw Meghan rehearsing another speech or correcting another headline, that peace felt further away. The dinner had been a mirror, but it also became a prophecy. Emma Grede's interruption symbolized more than social imbalance. It foreshadowed the monarchy's next move. Because while Meghan Markle tried to rebuild her image through branding, King Charles was building alliances. And nothing made that clearer than naming Emma Grede, a Black British businesswoman, as a representative of his foundation. It wasn't just progress. It was poetic irony. The monarchy had found the woman to rewrite its modern image, and it wasn't the Duchess of Sussex. In Hollywood, they call this poetic justice. The crown Meghan Markle once claimed to reject had quietly found a new head to wear it. No press conference. No announcement. Just a subtle shift in the narrative, visible only to those paying attention. Insiders describe a haunting calm in Montecito these days. Meghan Markle still moves with precision. Public smiles, quiet lunches, scheduled charity appearances, but the passion is mechanical. Prince Harry still stands beside her, but not quite with her. Their marriage, once the most defiant love story on earth, now feels like a business partnership. One manages appearances, the other maintains silence. Love replaced by logistics, loyalty by habit, and the monarchy they left behind? Thriving. Prince William and Princess Kate restored the image of stability. King Charles commands quiet authority. Even the scandals that once haunted the crown now feel like echoes of a different era. Across the ocean, Meghan Markle watches the family she criticized become stronger without her, while her own empire, built on rebellion, begins to crumble under the weight of irony. Because the truth is, Meghan Markle wasn't dethroned by scandal or betrayal. She was dethroned by contrast. Emma Grede didn't destroy her, she replaced her. She became the modern symbol of what Meghan tried to be: authentic, respected, untouchable. And the world noticed. When the dinner clips resurfaced weeks later, fans dissected every frame. That blink, that smile, that pause after Emma Grede spoke. People called it the moment the crown passed. It wasn't literal, of course, but symbolically, it was perfect. And maybe Meghan Markle knew it too. Because since that night, she's spoken less, posted less, smiled less. It's as if she finally understood the thing she had tried so hard to deny, that the crown she fought for doesn't vanish in rebellion. It simply moves to someone more ready to carry it. The candles that night had flickered softly, casting golden halos on the table. The laughter faded, the cameras turned away. But somewhere between the speeches and the silence, something in Meghan Markle broke. Not her confidence, not her pride, her illusion. And that's how dethroning happens in Hollywood. No scandals. No betrayals. Just a quiet dinner, a calm interruption, and a woman like Emma Grede reminding the world what real power looks like. Because on that night in Los Angeles, the Duchess didn't lose her crown. She realized she never owned it.